Michael Feeney, born in Drumsna, April 1812, is not exactly my idea of an ideal ancestor. We don't have any photos of him, so I took the liberty of trying to replicate his description on paint. He was described as a violent character with a sallow complexion covered in scars and tattoos. Growing up, Michael was very poor and, in typical Irish fashion, lived with his many brothers and sisters working as a labourer. At the age of 19, he enlisted to the army to broaden his horizons. However, his time in the military is best summarised by researcher Betty Thompson from Kew's Public Records Office. Obviously, he was not cut out for the army, to put it mildly, for he actually spent most of his time in prison, and deserted twice. A desperate character indeed. So basically, my hopes that my great-great-great-grandfather had done something noble like steal a loaf of bread to feed his family were totally shot. In his total 6 years of service, it is approximated that he spent 854 days in jail and 449 days deserting. That's just over half the time of his entire military service. His crimes were frequent and included both civil offences and assaults. His final undoing was on the night of the 5th of October 1936 in the streets of Furbain at 1 a.m.
On the morning of 5th October 1836, in then there loading his firelock with ball cartridge and ordering Corporal Nicholas Walsh, the non-commissioned officer in the command of the guard, to go down on his knees and pray for his life, and at the same time and place threatening to shoot the said Corporal Walsh, also for resisting, kicking and knocking down the said Corporal Nicholas Walsh when in the execution of his duty in attempting to apprehend him, the prisoner. For offering violence against said Corporal Walsh, when in the execution of his office by snapping his firelock at him, and afterward firing with ball cartridge at or after the said Corporal, Nicholas Walsh and Private Thomas Cudden. For taking Private Thomas Watkins' pouch from the house in which he was quartered in Furbain, and making away with 5 rounds of ball cartridges. For being absent from the 1st Division when marching from Furbain on the morning of the 5th October 1836, and not returning until apprehended by a party sent after him for such a purpose.
The events of this night led to the decision that Michael should be transported as a felon upon the ship Heber headed for New South Wales, sentenced to imprisonment for 14 years. Little information exists about Michael's initial years in Australia as a prisoner, but was given his ticket of leave in April 1845, cutting his sentence time down to 8 years. Michael lived in the district of Bruley, working as a miner at Bells Creek. He eventually was married to Irish immigrant Catherine McMahon, and they bought a 40-acre dairy farm in what was referred to as the Irish Corner. They had 7 children, and together they lived a simple but plentiful life. In 2007, we visited the old Feeney farm in Rysdale. What struck me most was that someone who had had such a turbulent life could find a place to settle and enjoy. While Michael is by no means someone that I look up to, his distaste for lawful behaviour brought my family to Australia, and meant that wonderful people like my grandfather and father could grow up in this fantastic country.